Hello everyone, it's Becca from Becca Books and Bujo, and today I have a giant book haul for you. I don't think I've done a book haul since November, and I have gotten a lot of books since then. And so I've kind of categorized them. I've got some book of the months. I've got a couple I got for Christmas. I have a stack that I have already talked about in the book shopping in Chicago video. I'll link that up above, but I'll just show you what I got. I have some that I just bought randomly throughout the last few months, and then I have the Kindle books I've gotten. I am a part of like the Amazon First Reads program, so I get free books that way. I also build up Amazon credits, and I've gotten a lot of free books from Amazon for my Kindle. So let's just jump right in. I'm gonna read through the synopses for you so you can decide if you want to get these books yourselves, but let's jump in with my book of the month. I have 4 here to talk about. So the first 2 I got in my December box. You know how you always get to pick one of the book of the year finalists as like a Christmas gift or end of the year gift. But we'll start with my December pick first. So I picked Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cochran. I normally always get the Christmas romance because they're always just so fun. And so this one, let's see, says, it's the best time of the year. 1 year ago, recent Portland transplant Ellie Oliver had her dream job in animation and a Christmas Eve bookstore meet cute with a woman she fell in love with over the course of a single night. But after a betrayal the next morning and the loss of her job soon after, she finds herself adrift, alone and desperate for money. Since finding work at a local coffee shop, she's just getting through the days until Andrew, the shop's landlord, proposes a shocking drunken plan, a marriage of convenience that will give him his recent inheritance and alleviate Ellie's financial woes and isolation. They decide to spend the holidays together at his family cabin to keep up the ruse. But when Andrew introduces his new fiancée to his sister, Ellie is shocked to discover that his sister is Jack, the mysterious woman she fell for last Christmas Eve. Now, over one very festive week, Ellie must choose between the safety of a fake relationship and the risk of something real. I did read this over the holidays and really, really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. So that was the first book of the haul. And then in that same box, I got Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. I don't know much about this one at all. So it says, we can't choose what we inherit, but can we choose who we become? In present-day California, Eleanor Bennett's death leaves behind a puzzling inheritance for her 2 children, Byron and Benny, a traditional Caribbean black cake made from a family recipe with a long history and a voice recording. In her message, Eleanor shares a tumultuous story about a headstrong young swimmer who escapes her island home under suspicion of murder. The heartbreaking tale Eleanor unfolds, the secrets she still holds back, and the mystery of a long-lost child challenge everything the siblings thought they knew about their lineage and themselves. I'm going to stop right there. Sounds really intriguing about 2 siblings trying to figure out who their mom was and who they are. In January, I got Lunar Love by Lauren Kung-Jessen. It was perfect timing for the Lunar New Year. I did already read this one and talked about it in my most recent wrap-up, but this one is about a matchmaker, Liv, and she is taking over her family's business. They matchmake people based on their Chinese zodiac. Then she runs into some trouble when she finds that an app is being developed based on the same matchmaking scheme, and she goes head-to-head with the creator of that app. It's really cute. It was fun. There were a few issues I had with it, but I still enjoyed it. I gave it a 3-star, I think. And then the most recent one that came in the mail just on Saturday is River Sing Me Home by Eleanor Shearer. First of all, I think this cover is gorgeous and it wraps all the way around to the back. And this one says, rare, moving, powerful, this beautiful page-turning and redemptive story of a mother's gripping journey across the Caribbean to find her stolen children in the aftermath of slavery is a remarkable debut. So wow, this is the author's debut. Her search begins with an ending. The master of the Providence plantation in Barbados gathers his slaves and announces the king has decreed an end to slavery. As of the following day, the Emancipation Act of 1834 will come into effect. The cries of joy fall silent when he announces that they are no longer his slaves, they are now his apprentices. No one can leave. They must work for him for another 6 years. Freedom is just another name for the life they have always lived. So Rachel runs. Away from Providence, she begins a desperate search to find her children, the 5 who survived birth and were sold. Are any of them still alive? Rachel has to know. The grueling, dangerous journey takes her away from Barbados, deep into the forest of British Guyana, and finally across the sea to Trinidad. She is driven on by the certainty that a mother cannot be truly free without knowing what has become of her children, even if the answer is more than she can bear. These are the stories of Mary Grace, Micah, Thomas Augustus, Cherry Jane, and Mercy. But above all, this is the story of Rachel and the extraordinary lengths to which a mother will go to find her children and her freedom. It sounds amazing. Historical fiction, mother trying to find her family. It just sounds really, really good, and I can't wait to pick it up. All right, then let's go to the books that I got book shopping in Chicago. Again, I will link that vlog above, but was it a vlog? I don't know. Sure. I'm just going to say the title and the author because I gave a synopsis in the other video, and if you really need to know what these ones are about, check out that video. So at these 3 bookstores I went to in Chicago, I got A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I got Leave the World Behind by Ruman Alam. The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, Notes on an Execution by Daniel Kukafka, and Honey and Spice by Bolu Babalola. I'm excited for all of these, obviously, because I picked them up. And that was like the first time I'd bought full price books, except for Book of the Month books, in a really long time because I normally thrift books. So let's jump into Christmas. I got 2 books for Christmas, and then some other people just gave me money to go buy my own books, which is, you'll see in the next stack. But the first I got from my mom and dad, I got The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I had already read this one, but I was at a book sale with my mom and dad, and I saw this, and I said, oh, that's a great price for a hardcover, amazing book. And I walked past it because I was like, yeah, I just don't need to buy it right now. But my mom got it for me that day and then gave it to me for Christmas. So this one is about 2 sisters. One decides to pass as white during her lifetime, and one decides to stick to her Black roots and stay in her community. And we just see how their lives differ based on the color that they chose for themselves. Such a great book, and I hope now that I own it, I can reread it. The other book I got for Christmas was from my husband, and this was actually a book box. So I got a Once Upon a Book Club box, and the book that came in it is The Oceanography of the Moon by Glendy Vandera. I read The Light Between the Leaves by Glendy Vandera during a really slumpy time in my life. We were in the process of moving. I think it was November of 2021. And The Light Through the Leaves was just that. Light Through the Leaves. It was perfect. It gave me light during times of hardship, and I really, really liked it. And so when I saw that this was an option in Once Upon a Book Club, I told Lily I would really like that for Christmas. I think it'd be fun to try the box and try this book. So this book came in the box, and then I can show you, basically, if you don't know what Once Upon a Book Club is they give you boxes that you are to open on a certain page. And so when I get to page 207 in the book, I get to open this little present. And there's one for page 58, page 225, and then there's a big one here, page 121. So I am hoping that I can vlog when I read this so that you can see the gifts. Let me know if you would be interested in that down below. A vlog of me reading this book, telling you my thoughts on it, but then also opening the gifts while I read. I thought that would be fun. I know that other people do that on BookTube, but you could see it from me for fun. And then this last stack of physical books are all ones, well, this one was kind of gifted to me too. Because I think my mom bought it and then, or no, I bought it cheap and I lent it to my mom, and then I ended up giving it to her for Christmas, which I must have not remembered. Excuse me while I get a sticker off the back. I must have not remembered that I gave it to her, or I don't know what happened, but now I own my own copy of Still Life by Louise Penny. This is the first in the Inspector Armand Gamache series, which I love. It is a fun mystery set in Three Pines in Quebec, Canada. And we follow this man as he solves many, many murders that happen in this teeny little town in Canada. And I really, really love it. I have these 5 that are the newer releases. I have only read 1 through 6, I think. Now I own 1. And I think 7 is the next. So I would love to jump back into those rather soon. I normally get them at the library just because, yeah, I don't know why. Okay, anyway, now these are 3 that I have picked up. So the first I got at our Friends of the Library. They have a little booth set up at our library, and I think this one was $1 or $2. And so this is The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter. I've heard that Karen Slaughter has really wonderful suspense thrillers, and I've been wanting books that just like make me pick them up and inhale them. And so I am hoping that this is a good one to try of hers. Let's see what it says. 2 girls are forced into the woods at gunpoint. One runs for her life. One is left behind. 28 years ago, Charlotte and Samantha Quinn's happy small-town family life was torn apart by a terrifying attack on their family home. It left their mother dead, it left their father, Pikeville's notorious defense attorney, devastated, and it left the family fractured beyond repair, consumed by secrets from that terrible night. Now Charlie has followed in her father's footsteps to become a lawyer herself, the ideal good daughter. But when violence comes to Pikeville again and a shocking tragedy leaves the whole town traumatized, Charlie is plunged into a nightmare. Not only is she the first witness on the scene, but it's a case that unleashes the terrible memories she spent so long trying to suppress. Because the shocking truth about the crime that destroyed her family nearly 30 years ago won't stay buried forever. Sounds good. Sounds thrilling. I'm excited for that one. Then it is a goal of mine this year to look into intermittent fasting. And so I got a book called Fast Feast, Repeat by Jen Stevens. And this is a comprehensive guide to delay, don't deny intermittent fasting. I am very interested to see what this author has to say about it and if it might be right for me to lose a few pounds. But yeah, I'm hoping to pick this one up rather soon so I can start my intermittent fasting journey. And then the last one I picked up for myself is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I have already read this. It is about Jeanette McCurdy and her life as a childhood actress on Nickelodeon. But more so, it is about her mother who manipulates her and abuses her physically, emotionally, mentally into being an actress and basically living her mother's life that she wanted. So her mom projects onto her dreams. And it is devastating, but it is really, really good. And I grew up watching iCarly, and to know, looking back, that like this wonderful, hilarious character of Sam was going through all of this really makes my heart hurt. So that is this book. Really, really good. A great memoir for sure. Now let's jump into the Kindle books. I will scoot over so I can put pictures of the books here, and I'm just going to be reading the synopses off of Goodreads. So here we go. We'll see if I can try to look at the camera while I do this. And I just moved the camera. Good luck. Okay. The first ebook I got pretty much for free was A Subtle Murder by Blythe Baker. This is a Rose Beckingham murder. So this says, murder and intrigue on the Arabian Sea. When Rose Beckingham sets sail for England in the summer of 1926, she brings more than souvenirs from her years in India. She carries the memory of a family tragedy and a secret so terrible it could destroy the new life she hopes to build in London. But Rose isn't the only passenger aboard the RMS Star of India with something to hide. Halfway across the Arabian Sea, death strikes and a murderer begins a deadly game only Rose can hope to end. With a mysterious Frenchman haunting her steps, can Rose outrun her past? And can she stay alive long enough to decipher the clues left by a taunting killer, or will murder call again before the first port? Sounds like a fun murder. I always like when people are stuck somewhere and then there's a murder afoot. It just makes it really exciting. So that is A Subtle Murder. Then we have A Castle in Brooklyn by Shirley Rusak Watchell. This one says, spanning decades, an unforgettable novel about reckoning with the past, the true nature of friendship, and the dream of finding home. 1944 Poland. Jacob Stein and Zalman Mendelssohn meet as boys under terrifying circumstances. They survive by miraculously escaping, but their shared past haunts and shapes their lives forever. Years later, Zalman plows a future on a Minnesota farm. In Brooklyn, Jacob has a new life with his wife, Esther. When Zalman travels to New York City to reconnect, Jacob's hopes for the future are becoming a reality. With Zalman's help, they build a house for Jacob's family and for Zalman, who decides to stay. Modest and light-filled, inviting and warm with acceptance for all of them, it's a castle to call home. Then an unforeseeable tragedy, and the grief, betrayals, and revelations in its wake threatens to destroy what was once an unbreakable bond, and Esther finds herself at a crossroads. A Castle in Brooklyn is a moving and heartfelt immigration story about finding love and building a home and family while being haunted by a traumatic past. I love historical fiction, and character development like this just sounds perfect for me. And now we have The Singing Trees by Boo Walker. This one says, a young artist forges a path of self-discovery in an enriching novel about forgiving the past and embracing second chances. Maine, 1969. After losing her parents in a car accident, aspiring artist Annalisa Mancuso lives with her grandmother and their large Italian family in the stifling factory town of Peyton Mills. Inspired by her mother, whose own artistic dreams disappeared in a damaged marriage, Annalisa is dedicated only to painting. Closed off to love and driven as much by her innate talent as she is the disillusionment of her past, Annalisa just wants to come into her own. The first step is leaving Peyton Mills and everything it represents. The next, the inspiring opportunities in the city of Portland and a thriving New England art scene where Annalisa hopes to find her voice. But she meets Thomas, an Ivy League student whose attentions and troubled family upend her pursuits in ways she never imagined possible. As their relationship deepens, Annalisa must balance her dreams against an unexpected love, until the unraveling of an unforgivable lie. For Annalisa, opening herself up to life and to love is a risk. It might also be the chance she needs to finally become the person and the artist she's meant to be. Sounds like a great growth story for Annalisa. Next, I have a classic, which I've never read before, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. This one says, combining magic, mysticism, wisdom, and wonder into an inspiring tale of self-discovery, The Alchemist has become a modern classic, selling millions of copies around the world and transforming the lives of countless readers across generations. Paulo Coelho's masterpiece tells the mystical story of Santiago, an Andalusian shepherd boy who yearns to travel in search of a worldly treasure. His quest will lead him to riches far different and far more satisfying than he ever imagined. Santiago's journey teaches us about the essential wisdom of listening to our hearts, recognizing opportunity, and learning to read the omens strewn along life's path, and most importantly, following our dreams. I need to get to that one. It's short. Sounds good. Glad I own it electronically. The next, I believe, is a romance called The Chemistry of Love by Soraya Wilson. How can Anna Ellis, a geeky, brilliant, and hopelessly smitten cosmetic chemist, possibly win over Craig Kimball, the man of her dreams, who also happens to be her boss? The answer is Craig's empathetic and handsome CEO half-brother, Marco. The makeup mogul knows Craig for the ridiculously competitive rival he is. Whatever Marco has, Craig wants. That can be Anna, if she's game to play. All Anna and Marco have to do is pretend they're falling in love and let the rumors begin. If the experiment in attraction works, a jealous Craig will swoop in and give Anna her happily ever after. If it weren't for one hitch in the plan. There's more to Marco than meets the eye. With every fake date, Anna's feelings are starting to become dizzyingly real. I love a fake dating trope. Sounds like a fun read. Next, we've got Someone Else's Life by Lynn Lau Butler. This one says, a new life in paradise should have healed her wounds, but for a woman struggling to hold on to her family and her sanity, one stormy night could change everything. Blow by blow, Annie Lynn's life crumbles. Her dance studio goes bankrupt, her mother and beloved dog are gone the same year, then a terrible accident leaves her young son traumatized. It's time for a change. Palm trees, Mai Tais, peace and quiet. Annie should be at ease, safe in her new Kauai home with her husband and son. She hopes proximity to her family can provide them all with a sense of belonging and calm. But soon, items from her past start turning up. Her dog's collar, a bracelet that disappeared years ago, and she has the unnerving sensation she's being watched. Reality begins to fracture, and Annie's panic attacks return. When, during a brewing storm, a woman appears on her doorstep, looking for shelter, Annie is relieved to have the company and feels an unexplainable bond with her visitor. As the night progresses, Annie realizes the woman is no stranger. Their lives are inextricably intertwined, and Annie might just lose everything. Sounds like a great domestic suspense. Next, I have kind of a famous one, This Must Be the Place by Maggie O'Farrell. I've heard nothing but great things about Maggie O'Farrell, and I have yet to read any of her books, so this will be probably my first foray into Maggie O'Farrell. This one says, a dazzling novel from best-selling writer Maggie O'Farrell, an irresistible love story that crisscrosses continents and the time zones as it captures an extraordinary marriage and an unforgettable family with wit, humor, and deep affection. Meet Daniel Sullivan, a man with a complicated life, a New Yorker living in the wilds of Ireland. He has children he never sees in California, a father he loathes in Brooklyn, and a wife, Claudette, who is a reclusive ex-film star given to pulling a gun on anyone who ventures up their driveway. Claudette was once the most glamorous and infamous woman in cinema before she staged her own disappearance and retreated to blissful seclusion in an Irish farmhouse. But the life Daniel and Claudette have so carefully constructed is about to be disrupted by an unexpected discovery about a woman Daniel lost touch with 20 years ago. This revelation will send him off course, far away from wife, children, and home. Will his love for Claudette be enough to bring him back? This Must Be the Place is a novel about family, identity, and true love, an intimately drawn portrait of a marriage, both the forces that hold it together and the pressures that drive it apart. O'Farrell writes with complexity, insight, and laugh-out-loud humor in a narrative that hurtles forward with powerful velocity and emotion. This Must Be the Place is a sophisticated, spellbinding summer read from one of the UK's most highly acclaimed and best-loved novelists. I guess I need to read it in the summer because it's a spellbinding summer read. I'm really looking forward to that one. I love a book that looks into the different dynamics of a marriage. Next, we have The Boyfriend Effect by Kendall Ryan, which is the first in the Frisky Business series. Now, the cover that Amazon showed me is this cover. The cover that shows up on Goodreads is this cover. I'm going to go with the first cover. Here. Here goes. I'm not boyfriend material. If a trail of broken hearts and a piss-poor record of failed relationships have taught me anything, it's this. My buddies are happy to give me poop about my latest breakup from here to next Sunday. Thanks, but I'd rather have a root canal and a vasectomy at the same time. Relief comes in an unlikely package, the gorgeous and feisty Marin. She just so happens to be my best friend's sister, so that's not awkward at all. But I'm a man on a mission, and Marin is down to teach me all the ways I've been failing as a boyfriend. Apparently there are many, and it's all very informative until I start to catch feelings. Now it's not just my reputation on the line, but my heart too. Sounds like a steamy romance. Should be good. Okay, the next one I picked up was The Push by Ashley Audrain. I've heard mixed reviews on this one, but here's what it says. A tense, page-turning psychological drama about the making and breaking of a family and a woman whose experience of motherhood is nothing at all what she hoped for and everything she feared. Blythe Connor is determined that she will be the warm, comforting mother to her new baby Violet that she herself never had. But in the thick of motherhood's exhausting early days, Blythe becomes convinced that something is wrong with her daughter. She doesn't behave like most children do. Or is it all in Blythe's head? Her husband, Fox, says she's imagining things. The more Fox dismisses her fears, the more Blythe begins to question her own sanity, and the more we begin to question what Blythe is telling us about her life as well. Then their son, Sam, is born, and with him, Blythe has the blissful connection she's always imagined with her child. Even Violet seems to love her little brother, but when life as they know it is changed in an instant, the devastating fallout forces Blythe to face the truth. The Push is a tour de force you will read in a sitting, an utterly immersive novel that will challenge everything you think you know about motherhood, about what we owe our children, and what it feels like when women are not believed. I've been enjoying books about motherhood lately, and so I think I might like this one. We'll see. Then we've got Detransition Baby by Tori Peters. This one says a whip-smart debut about 3 women, transgender and cisgender, whose lives collide after an unexpected pregnancy forces them to confront their deepest desires about gender, motherhood, and sex. Reese almost had it all: a loving relationship with Amy, an apartment in New York City, a job she didn't hate. She had scraped together what previous generations of trans women could only dream of: a life of mundane, bourgeois comforts. The only thing missing was a child, but then her girlfriend, Amy, detransitioned and became Ames, and everything fell apart. Now Reese is caught in a self-destructive pattern, avoiding her loneliness by sleeping with married men. Ames isn't happy either. He thought detransitioning to live as a man would make life easier, but that decision cost him his relationship with Reese, and losing her meant losing his own family. Even though their romance is over, he longs to find a way back to her. When Ames's boss and lover, Katrina, reveals that she's pregnant with his baby and that she's not sure whether she wants to keep it, Ames wondered if this is a chance he's been waiting for. Could the 3 of them form some kind of unconventional family and raise the baby together? This provocative debut is about what happens at the emotional, messy, vulnerable corners of womanhood that platitudes and good intentions can't reach. Tori Peters brilliantly and fearlessly navigates the most dangerous taboos about gender, sex, and relationships, gifting us a thrillingly original, witty, and deeply moving novel. Sounds really good. Maybe I should read it in June for Pride Month. We'll see. Then I've got City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. We're almost done. 3 more books. This one says, in 1940, 19-year-old Vivian Morris has just been kicked out of Vassar College owing to her lackluster freshman year performance. Her affluent parents send her to Manhattan to live with her Aunt Peg, who owns a flamboyant, crumbling midtown theater called the Lily Playhouse. There, Vivian is introduced to an entire cosmos of unconventional and charismatic characters, from the fun-chasing showgirls to a sexy male actor, a grand dame actress, a lady killer writer, and no-nonsense stage manager. But when Vivian makes a personal mistake that results in professional scandal, it turns her new world upside down in ways that it will take her years to fully understand. Ultimately, though, it leads her to a new understanding of the kind of life she craves and the kind of freedom it takes to pursue it. It will also lead to the love of her life, a love that stands out from all the rest. Now 95 years old and retelling her story at last, Vivian recalls how the events of those years altered the course of her life and the gusto and autonomy with which she approached it. Sounds good. I like it when we get like a older person retelling their past. Okay, 2 more left. Next we've got Booked on a Feeling by J.C. Lee. What a great pun. This one says J.C. Lee's rom-com Booked on a Feeling features an overachieving lawyer, a failing bookstore, a childhood friend, and the chance of a lifetime. Lizzie Overachiever Chung, Esquire, has her life mapped out neatly. Become a lawyer? Check. Join a prestigious law firm? Check. Make partner? In progress. If all goes to plan, she will check off that last box in a couple years, make her parents proud, and live a successful, fulfilled life in LA. What was not in her plans was passing out from a panic attack during a pivotal moment in her career. A few deep breaths and a 4-hour drive later, Lizzie is in Weldon for 3 weeks to shed the burnout and figure out what went wrong. And what better place to recharge than the small California town where she spent her childhood summers with her best friend, Jack Park. Jack Park didn't expect to see Lizzie back in Weldon, but now he's got 3 weeks to spend with the girl of his dreams, except she doesn't know of his decades-long crush for her, and he intends to keep it that way. She's a high-powered attorney who lives in LA, and he's a bookkeeper at his family's brewery who never left his hometown. He can't risk their friendship on a long shot. Can he? When Lizzie decides that the local bookstore needs a little revamp, of course Jack is going to help her bring it back to life. But the more time they spend together, the harder it becomes to ignore there might be more than just friendship among the dusty shelves and books. Sometimes the path to the rest of your life has been in front of you all along. Sounds like a sweet romance around books. And lastly, I hope this is the last one, because I think we're at like 25 books or something crazy like that. I have The Maid's Diary by Lorith Ann White. And this is another domestic suspense. It says, a cunning, twisty, and unsettling novel of psychological suspense with a startling conclusion by Lorith Ann White, the Amazon charts and Washington Post bestselling author of The Patient's Secret. I've never read that one. Kit Darling is a maid with a snooping problem. She's the invisible girl, compelled to poke into her wealthy clients' closely guarded lives. It's a harmless hobby until Kit sees something she can't unsee in the home of her brand new clients, a secret so dark it could destroy the privileged couple expecting their first child. This makes Kit dangerous to the couple. In turn, it makes the couple, who might kill to keep their secret, dangerous to Kit. When homicide cop Mallory Van Elst is called to a scene at a luxury waterfront home known as the Glass House, she's confronted with evidence of a violent attack so bloody it's improbable the victim is alive. But there's no body. The homeowners are gone, and their maid is missing. The only witness is the elderly woman next door, who woke to screams in the night. The neighbor was also the last person to see Kit Darling alive. As Mal begins to uncover the secret that has sent the lives of everyone involved on a devious and inescapable collision course, she realizes that nothing is quite as it seems, and no one escapes their past. A fun one to end on. So, yeah, I think that's about 25 books that I got, both physically and on ebook. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books and which ones I should prioritize, because I think I have some really good books here. Let me see if I can show you the stack. Ta-da! Does it even fit in frame? It's huge, and this is without all of the ebooks. So again, let me know in the comments if you read any of these. Like this video on your way out. Consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more bookish and bullet journaling content from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!